Hello and welcome to the Home Screen Podcast. This is episode 24. Today we're going to be doing another gaming review, so another solo episode, as we'll be reviewing Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So for those of you that don't know, this is a game that came out back in April. It's currently free on Game Pass. It was developed by a small studio called Sandfall Interactive. I'm going to try and keep this spoiler-free for the majority of the episode, and then we'll have to talk about spoilers as we talk about the story further on towards the end. I've beaten the game. I did the main story and a handful of side quests in just over 20 hours. I've still got a lot of optional Act 3, post-game, end-game type stuff left to do. But yes, I have beaten the game, rolled credits, and so I wanted to get my thoughts out there because this is a phenomenal game. Like, similar to Blueprint, as soon as I rolled credits, I was like, where's a mic? I need to talk about this. I need to just let out my thoughts and really review this because I think it's a really special gaming experience. And I think that anyone that has played this and got really into it will also agree that it's a real special game. Okay, so a brief plot synopsis. This is set in a place called Lumiere, is the main town. It's kind of a fantasy-infused world. Past Lumiere is the continent, with tons of different biomes and areas ranging from being underwater to snowy mountainous terrains to battlefields to blood-red forests. There's mystical creatures that you'll encounter, both friend and foe. And I guess the sort of central story starting point, your kind of focused goal really at the start, is on the horizon there's a giant rock monolith, and with it is a giant painted number. And every year a paintress awakens and paints a new number, descending down one every year. So at the beginning of the game it's 34, she then awakens and paints it on the day called the gommage. She paints it down to 33, and at that point anyone who is 33 years old is essentially like Thanos snapped from existence. They dissipate into petals. And so the goal of the expeditions, so there's been dozens of expeditions now, and so the goal of Expedition 33 is to head out into the continent with a singular goal of hunting down and stopping the paintress to end the gommage to save the lives of those to come afterwards. So that's kind of the main goal. Obviously a lot happens along the way, it's a real journey. So the gameplay is there's open world elements, but the core of the gameplay and the combat is a turn-based JRPG, so Japanese RPG, with quick time elements. And something that I've gathered, because this is my first JRPG, is that there's not normally this much involvement in terms of blocking and parrying and dodging and jumping. Like, it's, as well as doing your attacks, when you're on the defense and you're on the back foot, you have to really lock in to kind of parry and make your way around the combat sandbox. And while other games have dabbled in these elements, I'm pretty sure this is the first concoction of this kind of formula of game. It's kind of a new strand of game, which I can see with how successful this has been, many will be copying in years to come. You enter combat with 3 people. You can pick and choose who's in your party of 3. You can rotate it around outside of combat. And each character has their own metagame. So there's a character that can switch stances. There's a character that can apply elemental stains and debuffs. There's a character that's all about raw damage. I don't want to get into it too much because I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but yeah, like there's a sense of mastery of each character, and I'm sure that's a term that's going to come up a lot in this review. I'm definitely going to repeat myself because that is the addictive quality. That is the thing. That's the thing that makes this game tick, really, is the gameplay engine of getting to really understand and fully comprehend to make the most out of each character's abilities and playstyles. There's an incredible amount of side content, quests, optional areas, optional bosses that I think make it well worth your time even after you roll credits. And what's crazy about this is that this is Sandfall Interactive's first game, and for a lot of the team, this is their first time making games and working within this industry. I won't say too much about that. I really recommend you go and check out SkillUp's review. It's a review, but I would also say it's a documentary, and he really delves into the making of it and the sheer impossible chance that was the creation of this game. A lot of people haven't made a game before, and they all come together to make one of the best games of all time. I think it's pretty fair to say it's going to be up there in that conversation for a long time. This is a modern classic, joining the likes of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Elden Ring. Yeah, it's incredible. So that's the kind of intro overview. As you've already surmised, I think it's an incredible game, and it's one of the best first playthrough experiences I think I've ever had. I think this, Elden Ring, and God of War Ragnarok were all some of the best first-time playthrough experiences I can think of. I just got so invested into the story, the characters, the gameplay, the world. So breaking this down into sections, I'll first start with the gameplay. I thought I would bounce off this at first, but I think Sandfall's created such a perfect onboarding first few hours that I quickly became hooked on the gameplay loop. They do a good job of giving you almost like a tutorial fight the first time you get a new party member to really understand their system, their abilities, which you can then tweak and tinker with and tailor with Pictos and changing abilities and things like that. I was really surprised at how easy it was to make builds. The UI is well laid out, but daunting at first. Understanding what Pictos are, I think it was probably a few hours in when I fully understood how to use Pictos and how to use Lumina points and Colour of Lumina to kind of use those abilities across characters, or just dump them all on one just like nuke character, which many people have done with Mael and things. I was also quite pleasantly surprised at how quickly it was to create strong builds, not just for each individual character, but also synergy between characters. You can set up each other's abilities, giving each other AP, giving a target a debuff so another character can do more damage, that sort of thing. I think this all culminates in one of the best power fantasies in gaming at the moment, and a real feeling of, again, mastery once you've memorized an enemy's attack pattern and you're able to perfectly parry every hit in a combo. There's a character called the Duelist, I won't say where it comes in the game, and being able to perfectly parry every hit in his long, exhausting combo, ending with a gradient counter, is a real, like, power fantasy, really cool feeling moment that once you've done that, it's like, oh, I had this fight in the bag, I know how to counter every attack. It's just waiting for those openings, doing damage where I can, but knowing that even when I'm on the defense, I'm on the back foot, I can still do big damage through counters and things like that. This probably all sounds whack. This probably all sounds like mad rambling if you haven't played the game. But if you played it, and even if you played a handful of hours, you'll know where this is all coming from. It's a really cool feeling to understand the game systems and how it works and how to deal big damage. Next up, I want to talk about the music. It is phenomenal all around. It's a huge mix of genres as well. There's operatic numbers, there's quiet piano pieces, there's big swelling emotional orchestral pieces, battle themes, there's even electronic music thrown in there. There's more jovial, jokey, kind of like gestural music when you're at the gestural beach parties, those kind of things. It's a really broad gamut of music, which the guys have made for this. Before recording this, I had a quick look on Spotify, and the official soundtrack is 154 songs, so they've made like over 8 hours of original music for this, which all perfectly blend and mesh together to really enhance the emotions, and they really amplify the fights themselves, especially some of the key story moment fights, and the last few fights. You can really feel the importance and drama at stake when an enemy will enter a second or third phase sometimes. The music shifts up, there's a beat drop, and then it becomes your turn, and it's a really cool feeling. It's so good. In terms of game design, I think the art style, the open world, the character design, it's incredible. I think I already mentioned about there's different biomes, and each area feels really unique with different enemies, different traversal options. It's really cool to just explore the open world. With SKA, of course, everyone's favourite SKA. Running, swimming, flying around the continent, getting to just really take in what they've made. And I like the approach that they did that of almost these miniature representations of each area dotted around the open world. Then when you go into them, you actually see the full scale of that area. Okay, so now moving kind of into spoiler territory, we're going to be talking about the story. It is a incredible narrative with how it starts with quite an easy to grasp goal of that's the paintress, we have to stop the paintress, we're the expedition, name of the game, that's the goal, let's go stop her. There's so many twists throughout all of the acts as you regather your party, and I think one of the main strengths of this game is the flexibility of the writing and how it's able to really dabble in different tones. I think it has some incredible melodramatic, sad moments, which I'll talk about in a second, but also the humour. It's really, really funny. Like some of the conversations with the Gestrals in the Gestral village and SKA, they're some of the funniest moments I've witnessed in recent years of gaming. Like actually laugh out loud moments seeing some of the NPC dialogue. And yes, melodramatic moments. Rest in peace, Gustav. I guess that's the first big loss, first big twist at the end of Act 1. I've seen YouTube compilations of streamers reacting to it and things. It was sad. I could kind of see it coming as soon as Renoir arrived on the cliff and he started picking up and skimming rocks. I was like, this is it for you, buddy. Moments like that really do kind of stop you in your tracks, being like, hang on, they're not messing around. Like they really get the substance of this story, and it really puts into focus the stakes. Kind of like a Ned Stark situation. He's kind of the player insert character, he's kind of your protagonist as such, and him gone really kind of frames that, oh, no one in this party is safe, that any of the other members could die moving forward. And on the subject of Gustav, I have to say Charlie Cox, Daredevil himself, what an incredible performance in this. And the fact that he said in an interview that he recorded all of his lines in one session is just phenomenal. He gave Gustav such a wit and charm in those hours that I think it's really, really impressive for what he was able to do there. And that applies to the whole cast as well, especially Ben Starr, Jennifer English, and Andy Serkis. And I think one of them is going to get the Game Award for Best Performance. It has to be. It'd be really cool to see Andy Serkis get one, but I think Ben Starr, in some of his final moments, some of his final lines as Verso, especially if you choose the Mael ending, it's pretty heavy. I think the journey throughout Acts 1 and 2 is the real epitome of what the game is for me. As you explore the new biomes, gather your party, unlock your abilities, kind of on that journey to the monolith. I think past Act 2, when you get into the kind of pseudo epilogue, like ending fake out into Act 3 and the ending, that's all the story endgame. That's all, let's just steamroll towards the finish line kind of thing. Whereas I think my favourite part of the game, I probably would say Act 2. As you're further roaming through the different areas, at this point you really understand the combat systems. Your party is at full strength. You can really start to experiment with Pictos and really dumping tons of Lumina into your favourite characters. My go-to party was Verso, Mael and Lune. They all meshed quite well together and I was able to do a lot of damage in that first turn, and if I wasn't done with the fight in the first turn, it was going to be over in the second or third as soon as Lune cast Hell. That fire explosion, once you can do over 10k damage. The ending of Act 2 and then the following epilogue was confusing for me until the reveal that the Paintress's countdown is actually a warning of her fading ability to protect from Renoir. It all came together and made sense for me in that final encounter and decision, choosing whether to destroy the canvas and free Verso or to allow it to continue. At first, I didn't fully grasp what was happening, but as you move through Lumiere and have that final encounter with Renoir, it all clicked to me in the end. But I was like, I really hope I get this. I don't want to be confused and have to Google what did that ending just mean. Like, it did make sense in the end. It just got pretty complex pretty quickly compared to how relatively straightforward the goal of Acts 1 and 2 were. Past that, it took a little bit for me to grasp where it was heading towards for its conclusion, and it was an incredible ending. You're given the choice of the Mael ending or the Verso ending. The Mael ending is to not let the canvas be destroyed and to let it all continue, but I guess a part of that is that Verso is kind of trapped in there and he can't rest, he can't be at peace. Or the Verso ending, where you let the canvas be destroyed, he's finally free and at peace, and that part of him is no longer being tortured there, but then obviously the continent, everyone in the world, and your party and everyone then will cease to exist. So I did choose Mael's ending because I didn't know if I could still free roam and go around after rolling credits, so I thought I will save the canvas and everyone in it, I guess kind of naively, to save the world so I can keep playing in that space. But obviously, then when you get the cutscene and you see Verso's reaction as he dies and fades, yeah, I feel like I chose the wrong ending. But each to their own, I think they are both bittersweet. I checked on Reddit afterwards and yeah, they are both bittersweet. It's either saving this poor tortured soul or saving, I guess, the world as everyone knows it in Lumiere, in the continents. I think potentially my only singular gripe for the whole game is the pacing of Act 3, if you can call it Act 3, kind of the ending section. Spawning next to Lumiere, I think, was a bit of a detriment. So you spawn in after the epilogue, you've had the camp scene, you spawn in on SKA, you can now fly, but spawning that close to Lumiere means it's just kind of the natural decision to just head straight there. So I went there, battled through it, got to the final boss, and that was it. So because of that, Act 3 only really felt like it lasted an hour or two, depending on how long I guess the final boss takes you. So I respawned after the credits at this point of no return, but my desire to keep playing had kind of gone, like I'd beaten it. I still explored around for a few hours afterwards. I went to the Crimson Forest, did that boss fight, cleared a few floors of the Endless Tower, did some of the gestural beaches. It was all really fun, but my kind of desire to explore all of the endgame hard open world content was kind of gone after I'd already beaten it. I kind of wish that after the Elysia epilogue it spawned you at the other side of the map by the monolith and you kind of work your way back across the continent going from north to south back towards Lumiere. Then I would have more freely explored some of the Sky Islands on my way back over to the final area. But that's one small gripe, and I know they're all endgame level fights. As I found out after I beat Renoir and finished the game, I tried to do a handful of Sky Island fights, and my attacks that were doing near 100k damage were just tiny dinks in the health bar of some of these bosses. So yes, they are endgame, and that's probably why it didn't put you near them straight away. But yeah, I just wish Act 3 felt like it had a little more to do apart from just the end area. So to summarise, it's an absolutely incredible game. It's a fantastic experience. First time playthrough is unlike anything else of mastering the systems, mastering the characters. I think Sandfall has made a truly, truly special game here, and it's undoubtedly going to be Game of the Year. Sure, there's other things as well, like Blueprints, which I probably also called Game of the Year in that review for that 2 episodes ago. But I think this is now the bar. This is really the one to beat as the front runner, and it's phenomenal. And the fact that this is free on Game Pass as well means it's so easily accessible to everyone on PC and Xbox. It's even worth just paying for 1 month of Game Pass. If you can get a one month or 3 month free trial, or if you can just pay £10 for the month, it's worth it just to get it, just to play through this game, if you can beat it in that time frame, because it's a one-of-a-kind experience, and I think that people that are really into kind of the best games of each year, indie games, games that go on to win Game of the Year, people that are really seeking out these special experiences and these games that really prove it's an art form, I think that anyone that enjoys those kind of games, they're probably already aware of this, but if you're not, and this is the first time you're hearing about this game, then please go and play it. I mean, you probably listen, if you got to this point in the episode, you listen to all the spoilers anyways, but regardless, I could not recommend this more. It's an incredibly special journey, and it's one that I'm really glad I went on. So I think that'll do it for this episode. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Home Screen Podcast. If you liked it, please find us on the social media links. All the info is in the episode description. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode where we'll be reviewing the new Superman film. So we'll see you then. Bye.